Well, it's not just Andrew that has had some very serious allegations made against him. Fergie's relationship with Epstein is certainly being scrutinised. What's the latest on the allegations around Fergie?
Well, all the time, and we used to feel a bit sorry for Fergie because we thought she was embroiled and brought under the sort of shadow, if you like, of her husband or former husband. What's now emerged is that she's not only borrowed lots of money that she needs to do, but she also at one stage tried to retract from criticising Epstein in public. She said that she received a threatening phone call, which is why she sort of turned around and was sort of deeply apologetic to Jeffrey Epstein because she was worried that she might be sued for defamation. She also sort of turned around and apparently asked him to marry her on that sort of basis, and even asked the possibility of getting a job with him. She would call herself a house assistant, and that's apparently according to the Mail on Sunday. They wanted to avoid using the term housekeeper or just a special word for someone who employs a legion of staff. What happened is exactly that. Fergie, there are more and more revelations about what was said, what emails went where, and so on and so forth. And that's the sort of thing. The final first request for employment was back in 2010 when apparently Epstein was under house arrest in Florida following his conviction for procuring a child for prostitution. And that's the important point, Gabriella. It's the timing of all of these things. This is after the convictions. Yeah. This is all sort of denying that there's ongoing discussions. And as I say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. We're going to have all of those emails being revealed. So it's better that you deal with those and deal with those head on, but embroiled and tarnished as a result of the ongoing scandal.
Just finally, we mentioned Megxit as a pretty big scandal that the royal family has had to face. It's been revealed that Princess Catherine, she was always a voice of reason when it came to William and Harry's relationship, when that started to fracture, started to fall apart. But there became this turning point where she realised that she could no longer bring them together. She realised there was no turning back and that Megxit was inevitable. These revelations also being detailed in Russell Meyer's book. What are those details around this turning point when Princess Catherine realised there was no turning back?
Yes, and I think that's the thing, is the difference between the two brides, if you like, William and Catherine, which became this wonderful romance, and she got security as soon as they got involved. Harry was always concerned about the security for him and also when he started dating Meghan, and there was a conflict there because they didn't get the same level of security. You also had very much the different attitudes, if you like. The Catherine was always seen as this wonderful rose and still is adored by the public. And Meghan, they sort of had that love-hate relationship, which has gone more to the latter now that she's in America. But apparently what happened, she hugged William when she first saw him. This is what happened and made them feel a bit uncomfortable. Catherine described Meghan as friendly or erring on the side of somewhat over-friendly, is what she said. And she used the phrase, the damning 3 words, a touch of California about her, which she didn't necessarily mean in a sort of confidential way. It was a very different shake-up, if you like, for the royal family. And you'll recall in that Oprah interview about demonstrating how she curtsied to the Queen and how cringeworthy Harry felt, or certainly gave the impression on that sort of basis. But it's a sort of strained relationship, and that's the issue. And it's really quite sad because the brothers, they grew up in very tragic circumstances, lost their mother when they were both very young, and supported each other through that. And it's sad to see that they've drifted apart in this way. I, for one, really hope there will be some sort of resolution, if only for the king in what is obviously a very difficult time for him with his own cancer diagnosis and so on and so forth.
Well, I know if there is, you'll be bringing us all the details as it happens. Andrew Eborn, UK barrister and broadcaster, thank you so much for your time.
It's an absolute pleasure as always. See you next time.